everybody, I'm Christy Jordan. I'm publisher of SouthernPlate.com. I'm author of a couple of cookbooks, Southern Plate, classic comfort food that makes everyone feel like family. My latest one, Come Home to Supper, and contributing editor to Taste of the South magazine. And then whatever else I can find to get into that holds my interest long enough for me to stick with it. I'm just kind of all over the place. Most importantly, I'm a mom, and I provide the meals for my family every day. I do all of our grocery shopping, of course, you know, like we have servants or anything. Don't we dream? But anyway, so today I wanted to have a conversation with you about something that has probably been a subject of anxiety for you. I think it has for most people. And that is the frightening rising cost of groceries, and how we as families can adjust. I want to offer some tips and tricks, you know, to adjust in order to be able to afford just to feed our families. You know, this is something that I've been watching very carefully for a couple of years. Being in the industry that I'm in, I kind of know a few things behind the scenes, so I was able to kind of maybe see it coming a little more. And Zoe, hello. Hello, this is Zoe. How are you, baby? Oh, Zoe wants to love. You know, a few years ago, I had a friend who's a financial genius, and I don't use that term lightly. And he told us, he said, you know, you need to be watching because he said just in the next couple months, groceries are going to go up 20%. And I remember being very surprised. Not that I didn't believe this person, but thinking, you know, it was just kind of hard to believe that that would happen. And now here we are in 2014. And some groceries, dailyfinance.com actually reported this morning that a lot of household staples have gone up as much as 69%. And even more, I love you too. I love you too, yes. Thank you, baby. Zoe just wants to say hi to y'all. Oh, now Sweetie's up here. We're going to have cats soon. I've got my dogs up here now. But, you know, I've seen some groceries that have gone up even more than that. And then what's not even being taken into account is the diminishing sizes of everything. I know, you know, I get comments all the time where, you know, cake mix has decreased by several ounces per box. Cans are getting smaller. You know, I used to buy this canned spaghetti sauce back in the old days, and it was like this tall. And now that same can is this tall. You know, I mean, everything has gotten smaller in size and higher in price. And it's very disturbing. They also, some of the stats that I was able to pull this morning, just in the past 24 months. And I've seen, you know, grocery prices are always increasing, but really in the last 4 years, they've really been rising. So this is not even taken into account the last 4 years, but just within the last 2 years, bread has gone up almost 30%, milk over 25%. And there was actually a report out this morning on NBC News that said milk could go up as much as 60 cents more a gallon starting next month. So milk has gone up over 25% with more, you know, rises coming very soon. Eggs have gone up 54%. Flour, you know, that you bake with has gone up over 55%. Peanut butter almost 20%. I question this one because I've seen peanut butter almost double. That's something that we use a lot of. Apples almost 30%. Bananas over 20%. Chicken and beef are up almost 20%, and bacon over 20%. And this is just in the last 2 years. You know, it wasn't that long ago, I was buying beef for, you know, 99 cents a pound, and now the standard price is $3.99 a pound, you know, and it's you know, it's really scary. A lot of things have happened. But then here's the kicker. You know, while household staples have gone up as much as 69% in the last 2 years alone, the median household income has increased 1%. 1%. So, you know, the cost of living is going up drastically, but the income isn't. Now, back in the old days, and I'm using that term like my kids would use it, in the 70s and 80s, which you and I know is not that long ago, but my kids would call that the olden days. But, you know, the family used to be set up where there was a spouse at home, you know, the wife stayed home. And this made it a lot easier for families to survive economic crises and things like this, because if times started getting tough, you had one person who could go out and get a job. and bring in an extra, 50%. Dog Mageddon, somebody's at the door. Anyway, you had somebody who could bring in an extra 50% income to the house, even if they just got like a part-time job. They could bring in a lot more money that you didn't have before. They could maybe get, you remember that movie Mr. Mom from the 80s where the man lost his job and the wife went and got this new career and she was very successful and made more money than him. That was able to happen. But nowadays in most families, people are already working. Everybody's working, or you have some households that are just one adult in the household. So it's a lot harder for us to make adjustments. Our lifestyles are not set up to be able to absorb things like this like we used to be able to. So I want to talk to you today about some of the things that you can do. If you haven't started feeling the crunch at the grocery store, I'm really surprised. I would be really surprised if you haven't started feeling the crunch at the grocery store or haven't been feeling it for quite some time now. But now it's getting scarier and scarier. People are losing their jobs. People are unable to find jobs, and then groceries are getting more and more expensive. And just feeding your family, has always been a great concern. But most of us have been very, very blessed with times where we didn't have to worry about where's the next meal going to come from. And I'm not saying we're necessarily headed there, maybe, but we just need to take into account. Either way, people are feeling. Hello, Zoe. Are you going to be a part of this video? Show them your pretty little face. Yes, you go. Just love my baby. Okay, so this is my baby. I got her from the Humane Society a couple years ago. Her owner was a senior citizen who had passed away, and I went in there and walked down this little gangway, and there were all these dogs in kennels, and they were all jumpy and hyper and everything, and I knew I couldn't have a dog like that around the kids. And when I walked by Zoe's kennel, she just walked to the door and just looked at me and just looked straight through my heart. And I said, well, I guess you're going home with me. And she's just been a part of the family from day one. I don't know what I'd do without my dog. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that you can do that I suggest starting now if you haven't already started. That would help you absorb, feed your family some. So my mom is calling me. Let me text her and say I'm recording a video. Let's see. See, y'all get to see real life here. Okay, so here's some of the things I listed. Number one is kind of obvious. Grow your own. It would be great if we could all just leave the city and move out to farmland and start, growing our own crops and raising our own animals and everything. That's not really going to happen because we probably can't afford to. I know I can't. I would love to. There's some land in Tennessee that's been calling my name most of my life, and I plan on answering it one of these days. But you can grow your own wherever you live. If you have a porch, then you can put a 5-gallon bucket on it. You can grow some tomatoes. And you'd be amazed at how many tomatoes one plant gives off. I have smaller raised bed gardens here. I actually have a problem because of all the trees in my yard. They're slowly shading out my garden. And so I get less and less sunlight on it every year. And cutting them down, I looked into having a few cut down, and the price is just staggering to have some trees cut down by someone who's insured and knows how to do that safely. You'll see there's actually some fallen branches in my yard now. I had to go drag those off the swing set yesterday. But grow your own. You can have raised bed gardens. I have a post where you can use kiddie pools to grow your own food. I've even seen where people just take bags of dirt, put a couple, like an egg slice in it, plant their seeds, and grow stuff directly in the bags of dirt just on top of the ground. There's always a way where you can grow your own vegetables. And when you do that, look at the most cost-conscious way. I was watching a video on YouTube this morning, and this man was talking about how he got this land, decided he was going to garden, and he just planted all these vegetables he thought would be good, and he ended up with tons and tons of squash. And he said, you can only eat so much squash. From there on, he learned, don't only plant what you're really going to eat and use. For me, tomatoes are really easy to grow where I live, and they have so many uses, and they can really save you a lot of money. Another great thing about tomatoes is that they're easy to put up. You can dehydrate them, you can can them, you can freeze them. I have a post on how to freeze them and everything. So you grow your own, and then you get to eat fresh food, you get to eat better food, and you save a lot of money. Even if you just pick a couple things. I primarily grow tomatoes this year. This year, my hopes are to grow tomatoes. Bell peppers never do well for me, and I don't know why. It's, where I am or whatever. Tomatoes, cucumbers, spinach. I grow some herbs and turnips because I just love turnips. So just those are things that I won't have to buy at the grocery store. And then if I end up with a bumper crop, I have neighbors and people I know that are growing other things, and we can trade back and forth, and that really helps. My mother has some fruit trees. Those take a couple years sometimes before they can start bearing fruit, but you plant it now, and a couple years from now you'll have that, and that may be when you need it most. We have apple trees, pear, peaches, things like that. Fig tree, which I love. That's at my mother's house. Another thing that you can do, which most of you have probably already thought of, but you may not have gotten into it or may not know how to get into it very well, is couponing. I recommend, my friend Jenny has a website called SouthernSavers.com, and she has tutorials telling you exactly how to do all of that. You can get groceries cheap, very, very cheap, or even free. There have been times where, my mother and I have gone with a grocery store bill, and it may be like $150, $200, and by the time our coupons are taken off, we end up paying like 30, 40 bucks. So that makes a huge difference. I have a friend who actually gets most of, a lot of her groceries ended up being free. And she's very good. She studied couponing. She's gotten good at it. And it's something that she started doing as a way, before she really needed it, she did it as a way to help others. And she couponed, and then the things she got free or very low cost, she would donate. She would give to families in need that she knew. Then it turned out her husband lost his job and was unable to find a job for several months. And couponing is what was able to keep their family fed. So, it makes a difference. I really encourage that. Just recently I had a coupon for something that I ended up using at Walmart, and every time I bought it, I would end up making $1 on it. So I would go and I would buy like 20 items, and I would make $20 on it, and then I would go use that 20 to buy other things. You buy meat or your more expensive things with it. And I would come home, and my husband's like, "You bought more?" I said, "Hey, Walmart paid me to buy this." So it definitely pays. Those things are not unheard of. People getting free groceries really does happen. And if it's something, you can either do it to help stockpile for if your family ends up being in need, or to help others. My friend Kelly Hancock has a blog called Faithful Provisions, and her whole premise was, live thriftily, live with a thriftful mindset so that you're able to help others and give generously to others. And that's a great way of looking at it too. Another thing that you can do is to look at alternate brands of products, look at different values, and look at store brands. The store brands have changed a lot in the last 10 years or in the last 5 years. They've really come a long way. In the old days, whereas, Heinz might be the only ketchup you would buy, there are 2 store brands that I buy regularly now that I cannot tell the difference between them and Heinz ketchup. And I save a lot of money. So revisit that, maybe rethink your brand loyalty if the price is very prohibitive. It's something you might want to look at. Now, I'm not saying don't treat yourself. If there's a certain kind of coffee that you just love and it's what helps you make it through the day, if you can afford it, go for it. I do love my coffee. I love my Diet Dr. Pepper. I've heard everything. I don't want to hear it. Thank you. I know a lot of y'all have problems with that, but it's a free country. We're fine. And I enjoy those. But now, if it ever comes down to it, can I give them up? Yeah, buddy, you better believe I'll give them up pretty fast. We go to the all-water diet. I have no problem with that if I need to, if it means feeding my family. But right now, look at the different values. A lot of people say they're really surprised at all the store brands I use and the generics that I use. And I have not noticed a difference in quality. There's very few things that I can tell you make a significant difference in quality when you use them. And I do still have my things like, when I don't make homemade sloppy Joe sauce, there is only one brand that I buy because to me the others taste really bad. And that's fine, but I'm just saying if you're cutting costs, don't be afraid to try store brands again. Maybe if you had a bad experience last time, give them a try again. Another idea is to look at creative meal planning. This can end up being much healthier too. One example of this is instead of boxed breakfast cereal, the kiddie cereals and stuff. My son used to enjoy those when he was younger, and he's 14 years old, and he and I love oatmeal. We eat oatmeal several mornings a week. Oatmeal is really healthy. It's very inexpensive. It's a great meal. It's good for you, and it will save you a lot of money while making you feel better. So look at options like that. Maybe take a few minutes to, cook an egg in the morning instead of, heading through a drive-through and things like that. Another option is to cut out meat at least one meal a week. Meat is one of the most expensive items to buy. You can have some meatless meals, have some meals of, in the summer, I love to go pick some vegetables fresh from the garden, just make me a nice big fresh veggie plate. It's absolutely delicious. Beans and cornbread, beans and rice, those are things that we had growing up. There's a lot of options out there for meatless meals. I have a lot of recipes, of course, on SouthernPlate.com, and Come Home to Supper. That book was really geared to help families with budget dinners using things you have on hand. The entire book. Another option is to buy now at lower prices. There are certain things that, groceries are going to get more expensive. Okay, two things groceries are going to continue to rise in price, and you're going to continue to eat. Okay, we all need food to survive. So buying now at lower prices is not a bad idea. If you can, go ahead. It might be worth an investment to buy a deep freezer if you don't already have one. I recently bought myself a larger dehydrator so I can dehydrate more things, and then I don't have to take up freezer space with them. And I've got a lot of posts coming up on that on SouthernPlate.com as well, and I'll probably talk about them here on YouTube. I'm actually planning a YouTube video later this week. It'll probably take me maybe 2 weeks to get it up on YouTube though, talking about how you can use a dehydrator in ways that you might not have thought of before. But buying now at lower prices is never a bad idea. Rice. Rice is a staple. Whole civilizations have survived on rice, okay? You can go and buy that now. I was also going to tell you buy in bulk. Buy in bulk is important too. On things like rice and sugar, these are just two examples I've done posts about on Southern Plate, my money saving tip post. You can save over 60% by buying in bulk. But the prices are going up. When I first started buying my rice in bulk, I remember one week it was $14.82. Then a couple weeks later I went and it was $15.90. And now it's almost $18, for 50 pounds of rice. So everything's going up and things like that. You look into the storage times. Rice stores indefinitely when stored properly. This is white rice. Brown rice does not store as well long term. Sugar stores indefinitely. You still put it in a nice airtight container. Do not remove the air from sugar ever because it'll be like a brick. But these are things, you're going to use sugar. You're going to use rice. Go ahead and get it now. And then when you buy it in bulk and you save money, incorporate into your meals more. Realize that, no, I'm not saying incorporate sugar into your meals more. Incorporate rice into your meals more. It'll help bulk up your meal. It'll make it go further. So it's a good idea. Another thing that you can do is to stop eating out. It's a convenience and it's fun. It's nice to be able to just, it's been a crazy day, we'll go through the drive-thru. But for a family of four, average family of four, to eat out, let's say you go through a fast food drive-thru, it's going to be about $20, maybe even more. Now, for $20, I can put 4 good suppers on the table. If I'm budget friendly, I can put 4 real good suppers on the table. Another thing I wanted to mention in the creative meal planning, certain suppers are, of course, more expensive than others. And when you're getting really creative and budget is tight, you got to look at things like, we may want lasagna, but lasagna may cost me $10 to make a good lasagna. I can make a really good spaghetti for less than $5. So, you make choices in your meals and kind of, you can even draw a list of your favorite go-to meals and figure out the average cost of each one. And say you've got a couple $5 meals, a couple $10 meals, maybe one $20 meal, which is, it happens. And then you say, okay, I've got $100 that I'm going to spend on supper for the next 2 weeks. It's possible. It is absolutely possible. I've seen people live on a whole lot less than that. So anyway, that's just an idea. But cutting eating out, save it for a treat every now and then. But you can have better food, better quality food, better tasting food, and you can save a lot of money by not eating out. It kills me when we go to a restaurant, even like a middle of the road restaurant, and you get that bill. It's like $30, $40. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I could have fed, we could have had supper for a week for this. So that's another idea. I'm trying to see if I covered everything. I think, let's start a conversation. What are things that you can do? Another thing that I have done is, or that I recommend, is cutting cost now. A lot of us may have things in our budget that we can shave off that we don't even realize we're not using, that we're just throwing money away. You sign up for some kind of automated subscription service or something, $20 a month's been coming off your debit card for the last year, and you don't even remember it or think about it. One of the things that we've cut out is we realize we're not watching cable anymore, and so we cut out cable. It's useless to us. We're not watching it, and I mean, I sit here with the TV off all day long. If I want to watch something, I'll go to YouTube or something. My kids have kind of strayed away from cable as they found better things to do with their time. And we just enjoy our life a lot more. And I have a lot more time to accomplish what I want to accomplish. I get a lot more work done, and I have a lot more leisure time. I have a lot more time to myself. So, that's something that go ahead and cut those costs now. Evaluate, am I using my cable? Am I using this subscription service I have? Do we really need a house phone? When was the last time we talked on our house phone? For some people, these things still make sense. My parents tried to get rid of their house phone, and about 1 week later, everybody realized this is a problem. They use their house phone a lot. We haven't had a house phone in, I don't know, 5 years or so, but it's not a problem for us. So, just evaluate your life. But I would like to start a conversation. What do you think about the rising cost of groceries? What are ways that you've had to cut back? How has it impacted you and your family? Let's talk about it. So leave, a comment here. I'm going to start being a little more active on my YouTube channel. So please subscribe to me. It's youtube.com/SouthernPlate. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any videos. And then I'm going to open this one up. This is the first video I've actually opened up for comments. So leave me a comment. Let's chat about it. Let's talk about it. Give me some ideas and tell me what you're doing. This is something that we're all struggling with. And I think we all have something that we can help each other with, doing it. So in summary, grow your own vegetables. Get those gardens in. 5-gallon buckets work if you can't do any better. Coupon. Look at the coupons. I go to this place called Coupon Flea Market, and I end up buying my coupons there. There's also a great coupon out. Oh, it's only to February 28th. On bobsredmeal.com, you can print off a $1 coupon. And there's this cereal that my son and I love. It's a 7-grain rolled cereal. It looks like oatmeal, but it's a bunch of different grains rolled like oats. And it's like $2.50 a bag. Well, there's a $1 off coupon. So I can get it, I'm saving almost 50% on that. So I've been stocking up on those now while I can get them cheaper, and I'll have them later. Look at alternate brands. Consider generics and store brands. Don't think that just because it costs the most, it's the best. I can promise you, from an insider's point of view, that in most cases, that is not the case. A lot of these are being made in the exact same factories, different packaging. Trust me. Be more creative in your meal planning. Buy now at lower prices while you can. Cut costs now in the areas of your life. Trim the costs now so you can have that money to go towards your grocery budget because, like I said, staples have gone up, up to 69%, but the median income has gone up 1%. The money's got to come from somewhere. Buy in bulk and cut eating out. These are just some of my ideas and things that we have done in our life. So, also, this is my hat day. Y'all caught me on a hat day. When I'm not traveling, I take about 1 day a week, and I'm like, okay, this is my hat day. And those are the days that I just hit the ground running, and I don't even bother to take time to fix my hair. I enjoy those days immensely. So, on my next YouTube video, I'll try not to let it be a hat day. But anyway, I've enjoyed spending this time with you. I hope I've given you some information that you will find helpful. And I would like to hear information from you if you have input or ideas in the comments here or, on my website. Be sure and visit me on SouthernPlate.com, and be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can pick up any of my, Come Home to Supper is my latest book. Lots of great budget-friendly ideas. There's also um, there's a pantry chapter which tells you how to do everything from scratch if you want to save money, or if you're not a shortcut person, if you want to make your own homemade pizza sauce, homemade cream soup, homemade everything, it's all in there. And then this is my first book, which is still available now. Anyway, I love y'all very much. Have a wonderful day, and remember, the biggest part of being blessed is just realizing that you already are. So, talk to you soon. Bye.